Good evening everybody and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Tonight we're going to be speaking about how addiction affects families. I'm going to be speaking in particular to a desperate wife called Nikki whose husband has a drug addiction that's been affecting their marriage. And also I'll be joined by Mandy Saligari, founder and clinical director of Charter Counselling and Psychotherapy, to give tips on how to deal with addiction in the family. So please do stay tuned, and if you have any questions you'd like to ask, you can email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv so I can ask our expert as well. And if you want to call, you can do so on 020 7686 6300. But before we get into anything else, it is Wednesday, so that means it's Challenge Chrissy Day. And this time I did the challenge with the lovely Bianca here, didn't we, Bianca?
Yes, we did. It was very good fun. I really
enjoyed it. It was a bit of it. To be honest, it was a bit of a disaster actually, more than it was fun, but disastrous fun.
It was
Should we take a look at the video?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Shall we show the viewers our shameful day?
It's gonna make you laugh a lot.
Yeah, let's take a look at this then. So this is our next challenge, Chrissy, and Bianca's joining me today because there wasn't anyone else brave enough to come along camping to stay the night in the wild, kind of. So we're gonna try and set up a tent and then have something to eat.
Yeah.
All right, shall we try and let's go to our
let's try and
site.
set up.
All right, come on then. Okay, this thing didn't actually come with instructions, but it looks pretty simple. Oh! Was that it? Well, it's quite nice, comfortable, but I'm really hungry and I'm dying to go to the toilet.
And me, I'm
We need
dying.
to find somewhere to go, right?
Are you going to dig a hole so we can go?
I don't know, we need to find somewhere here. Okay, that'll be the next thing, come on then. Oh, it's gone out. Oh, come on. This is ridiculous. This is the 11th match now we're lighting.
Ah, I think you did it.
I dropped a sausage in the leaves. Now the reason I'm washing it, I was going to throw it away, but the reason I'm washing it is because our photographer said she'll eat it if it's washed, so that's why I'm washing the sausage. We don't have much food, so we don't want to waste anything. So I'm going to go back now to the barbecue. Bianca, I left you in charge for 2 minutes and you burnt the sausages, lady.
I got distracted. Look, I'm so multi-talented. It's what you like.
Bit more salt.
Got like a thing hanging off. You can tell it's been wet.
I'll put it through the plate. Just use your fingers on it.
Like, I want to do... like a pancake. I knew I was going to do that. I knew I was going to do that.
I set fire to the forest. No, you can't put wood there. Sorry, where's the water?
Oh my God, seriously. No, we need to get the water because it's going to... It's actually...
She's filming the evidence. I'm gonna have to see.
Wow.
There's only a bit of wood. I'm sure they've got more wood.
So I'm here with Barry from the Camping and Caravanning Club. So Barry, why should people come here?
Well, I think first we get a lot of people who will look at our site book, look at the site, see the lake, see how close it is to London, and basically say that's the place we want to go to. It's very tranquil, as you can see. People come here also for the fishing. We're very popular with fishermen. The Camping and Caravan Club basically originated from camping in tents and has gone on to caravans and motorhomes as well.
Brilliant.
but primarily, a lot of it is still tents.
Yeah. So if people want to find out some more information about the camping site, what can they do?
Well, obviously they can go onto the Camping and Caravan Club website, which is easily Googled if they do that, or they can ring our call centre and talk about that, which is in Coventry, or they can actually, we get a lot of people who are, if they're passing, they'll pop in and ask for information locally here.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Barry.
Okay,
Thank you.
Well, this is a challenge, so I think we should sleep outside.
Okay.
And see what happens. Okay? What was that noise?
Oh my God, did you hear it?
It's coming from
Seriously? Oh my God, I think it's coming from there. Let's go back in the tent.
I think we should. Come on. That's all from the Chrissy B Show. Bye-bye for now. Say bye. Yeah. Say bye. Bye, bye, bye.
We did, yeah. We lit the barbecue. We
Burnt a bit of wood.
Yeah, burnt a bit of wood as well.
Okay,
But we
alright.
didn't burn any of the grass.
That's all right.
Thanks, sorry, Barry.
so
All right,
much.
no problem.
Whoops. Yes, well, it was good fun.
It was
Wasn't it?
really
I really
good
enjoyed it, and
fun.
we're really sorry for setting fire to the wood.
We're very sorry, but we had a lovely
We
time.
weren't
And we did
supposed to do that.
confess, Chris,
We
didn't
did. We did confess.
Yeah.
But they were great sports, weren't they?
Yeah,
They
but
were
we
really
did
nice.
manage to make a full English breakfast as well, didn't we? So that was good. Do you know what? It
Tasted
did
a bit
taste-
gritty,
It
but
did,
it was-
didn't it? It tasted of, do you know when you're going on the beach and you have that taste of sand in your mouth? That's what it tasted. When you crunch, it's like those little bits of sand. That's what
I
it
think
tasted
it might
like.
have been the eggshells, but it's okay. But it's really good fun if you want a bit of an adventurous thing to do.
Yes,
right?
it was
Lots
very
of
good
other
fun.
things funny have happened that day, but we just couldn't fit it all in the video.
Yeah,
So.
we'll have to show it another
Anyway,
time.
let's hear some news. We've got a bit of time for
Yes.
a few minutes.
Okay, so everyone's talking about this at the moment. The royal baby was due last Saturday, the 13th of July, and it's been and gone now, so we're all waiting and we're all getting very excited about it. It could be any minute now. The big questions are, of course, will the baby be a boy or girl? And during the build-up, people have been placing bets to guess the name, and more are going towards it being a girl than a boy. So the top 5 are Alexandra, Charlotte, Elizabeth, George, Victoria and Diana. And others are trying to guess what the baby will look like, and they're using this iPhone app. I've used this app before, actually. It's called Baby and Me on an Evian app on your iPhone, and basically you put a picture of yourself on it and it will show you what your baby will look like. So they've done it for Kate Middleton. Yeah, you can do it. You can use my iPhone later on, Chris, after the show.
But don't you see like both the dad and the
No,
mum?
it just uses you. I know, it's strange, isn't it?
Okay.
Anyway, so there's a fault in the system.
Well, something's
but-
going to go wrong because my husband's darker, so it's, like,
true.
it's not going to make sense. I might as well not bother.
I mean, no, you can choose the colour of the baby as well.
Oh,
so,
can you?
Yeah, you can
Oh.
adapt it to what colour
Okay.
it is.
With an Indian mix. kind
Yeah,
of
you can
thing.
sort of
Yeah,
go
okay,
Indian if you
alright,
want to,
right.
you know, a bit darker. And the latest as well is that Kate Middleton and Prince William have now been given a dedicated parking space in Asda, their local Asda in Llanelli in Wales. And I know-
Shouldn't be allowed.
Really, Chris?
No, I'm joking. Sorry.
I was going to say. So the,
Only if I can get one too.
Yes, exactly. We should do Chrissy B one now, Asda, please, or Tesco. And the space is marked HRH and comes complete with a royal guard, Chris, as well. And it's
that's gonna be
positioned.
far,
I
so-
know, and it's positioned right next to the entrance of the
Are they
store.
serious?
To allow easy access. They are serious, and this is
What's
what they've
that
said. So an Asda spokeswoman said the store wanted to do something different and special to celebrate the new royal arrival. It's created a lot of excitement among our customers who, like us, are looking forward to the birth of the royal baby. The store manager, Peter Ellis, says Kate has visited several times and they hope that the addition of her new car parking space will entice her to visit a lot more often.
Maybe.
I know.
Wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking. And I was just thinking that, you know, when it gets really busy on a Saturday, there's going to be that empty
Yeah, I know. Everyone's like,
and everyone's going to go mental, aren't they? But they did, as they've covered their backs, they've said that if it does get busy, that they will open it up for normal customers, everyday customers.
Oh, I wonder who
as
gets
well.
the privilege.
Exactly, so you'll have
Yeah.
a fancy royal parking space, some of you.
Oh,
They've
nice.
covered their backs. And also, a beauty clinic in Japan are now offering a new beauty treatment. Starting on Monday, Chris, is unbelievable this is. Women who want to get rid of dead skin, clear their pores or roll back the ears are now being introduced to a snail facial. Yes, a snail facial. Beauty shop owner says the slime from snails has an anti-aging effect on human skin, and some cosmetics are already using the essences of escargot. The treatments begin with the faces being washed, then snails are placed on the cheeks and forehead and allowed to move around as they please. Can you read it, Chris?
That's a massive one. Look at the size.
I know. And they're literally left on your face. They can just go wherever they like, all over your face.
Well, I've eaten snails, so...
Yeah, have you tried
I kind of got force-fed them as a child by my father.
Did you
He
like
wanted me
it?
to try all things Greek. I never liked them, no.
So would you have the snail facial, Chris?
No.
So a 60...
What if it doesn't come off? It just
I know. It's like gets stuck on your skin, doesn't it? Because they like suck, don't they? So, no way.
Would you?
No way. So a 60-minute treatment costs...
Yeah, you say that because you're still young and you don't need any anti-aging stuff.
I'll try the other options, not the snail thing.
All right.
So a 60-minute treatment costs £161. But is it worth it? People who have tried it say it's very relaxing, and one fell asleep. And another says you can feel the snails moving around on your face, and at first it's very surprising, but it's actually rather nice, and my skin really does feel smooth and moist.
Why would you pay 100 and something and just get them from your back
£161.
garden?
I know.
Just shove them on your
apparently
face.
Apparently these have got to be special snails, aren't they? Because you're paying that much for it, isn't it? Well, I wouldn't do it even if it was free. Honestly, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it.
We could do that for next challenge, maybe.
Because you said it, Chris. I'm going to write that down now. Honestly,
we've
Chris.
got to go to a break.
Oh no, I've got more stories.
Oh, how many have you got?
I've got 3 more.
We have to save them for next week.
Okay, we'll save them for next week.
I'm sorry. We have to go to a quick break now, and afterwards we're going to get into our topic about how addiction affects families. So do join us then, and if you want to email any questions through, you can do so on chris@chrissybshow.tv. Bianca, stay with us. Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show, and we're speaking today about how addiction can affect families. And with me tonight I have Mandy Saligari, and I also have Nikki, whose husband is addicted to drugs. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you. So Nikki, I think you're quite brave, first of all, for coming on and speaking about this. And also, I think it's very important to speak about, because there are lots of families going through what you're going through at the moment. And, you know, we'd like to be able to help our viewers tonight with Mandy's help. So can you first talk about how was your relationship before your husband started taking drugs? How were things between the two of you?
Okay. Sorry, it's I don't know where to start from. Before the normal relation, just like normal, when it's it's very hard after when your husband or partner or the lady get addicted. It's relations are totally different. It's not real.
How was it before? Would you describe yourselves as happy? Like
very
you got
happy.
on?
We just kind of planning for the future, what we're gonna buy, how much we're gonna save every month, and you know, all things. Planning for holidays and lots of things you plan with your partner.
How long have you been together?
We've been together for 9 years now.
9 years. So
9
the
years.
first, how many years?
First 6-7 years, it went really fine.
We're good, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. And
okay, you never expected anything to go wrong?
never. Although we both were really young when we met each other, and I was doing really good in work, and he was doing really well. So I was thinking when we get into our late 30s or early 30s, we were just like, you know, buzzing everything, but didn't work that way.
So what happened? Why did he start taking drugs?
I don't know, maybe he got into that kind of group, you know, he started meeting all the people who was having drugs, and he had it maybe for fun, and then sudden he didn't knew he got addicted to it. So
Man, is that how people? Is it quite common for people to get involved in that way, just sort of recreationally taking drugs and then they get addicted, or is it something more?
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, you have to have access to them. I think people are probably predisposed, that there's something in someone that would make them higher risk of developing an addiction rather than remaining able to have recreational use. But yeah, I mean, curiosity is one of the gateways into addiction, for sure.
Yeah. But it's surprising me sometimes, because if a person's quite happy, because it sounds like the two of you were happy, you know, everything was going well, that he would go sort of down that path, but it happens, obviously. But then what did you notice about his behaviour that you would say, you know, started to make you a bit suspicious that something was going on?
Especially when I used to say to him, I knew there was something is not right. When you try to kind of find out what's happening, they do get really, really angry, and they don't want you to know about them. Yeah. And they just, they would like to say, that's none of your business. And
so you would ask him?
They don't want you to follow them or anything. So anyway, I did find out one day, so he agreed to it. So
how did you find out?
He thought I was sleeping. I wasn't sleeping, and I can hear the foil noise in the kitchen. So slowly I came downstairs, and he quickly wrapped everything and chucked in the bin, and I quickly opened the bin lid and took everything out, and the foil was really, really hot, and I opened it and smoke was coming out of it. I was, what is this? And I left everything there, went upstairs. He just came behind me, sorry, saying this and that. So that's how we...
How did you feel when you saw that?
Oh God, I was really upset. I cried a lot, and I don't know where to go. And I went to my local GP, and he kind of stood from a chair, what happened, and he explained how he has his drugs, and then doctors told me it's a heroin, so I need to go to this special team who deals with the drugs. So shouldn't be coming to me, local GPs are not going to do anything, so you need to go to a special kind of team where they help these addicted people. So
but was he willing to get help at that point?
He was, because I was really upset and he didn't want to lose me, so he went with me, yes.
Right. But then how has this affected your relationship since the time that you found out? How have things been between the two of you, with the family?
Especially when people on addiction, they never tell you the truth. There's so much lie. You don't know, they lie for everything. And that's kind of, they don't do whatever they say. So there was not honesty between our relationship. So you can't
must have really hurt.
It's very hard. You don't know what to share with the person, what not to share, especially all your assets you can't share with the person. So, that's it.
And I think you mentioned to us in the green room as well that with the stealing things,
they can, if they got no funding available, so they can do anything. They will try around the house first. If there's anything in the house available, they can get more good money off it. Maybe something for £500, but they need only £30 or £40 for the day. They don't bother how expensive that thing could be. They need just it for the day, and every day they just you have to look after your things.
Have you ever thought of leaving him?
I did at the starting. Not at the starting actually. I thought he's going to get treated. I thought it'd be easy when I found out. I was upset at the start when I went to my GP and I found out he can get blockers, so which you can treat him, make him back to normal. And I thought I'll be still in a relationship.
What are blockers? Sorry, just to clarify.
What you're looking at is probably a heroin substitute.
Yeah.
Something that'll take away the feelings of craving and carry him.
Okay. So I thought it's going to get better, so he's going to get back to the normal and that's it. Everything will be fine. Doctor said it will take now normally from 6 months to 12 months, depend, everyone is different. Some people leave early, some people take time to get out of it.
Yeah. And
I was back to normal again, and after 6 months, sudden I realised I got my bank statement home, there was lots of money was missing from account.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And it just went mad again. So it was
just like you feel like you're getting somewhere.
I was
and then
happy, and we've been on a holiday together afterward. We went away for 6 weeks. We had so much chilled, and after that, it's all over now. We're not gonna. I'm never gonna see that again. But it happened again, and it happened about 4 or 5 times again. He went back to a blocker as a Suboxone and back to drugs again. And
what's the hardest thing? I mean, obviously the whole situation is really difficult. But what's the hardest thing for you to cope with at the moment?
Hardest part is it's very hard, especially when you're living with your partner in the same house. It's very hard to not to believe that person, and you have to believe that person, but you have to hide all your stuff, especially expensive stuff. You can't really put CCTV cameras everywhere, which is not appropriate anyway. It's very hard to you can't leave any valuable things in the house. So
that's a really hard situation, isn't it?
Especially my cameras,
someone that you want to trust.
Expensive, my iPad, everything at my work locker, so I don't bring anything in the house. Even when I park my car outside, take my purse out, I leave it in car locker, then I go into the house and hide my keys. That's how I go to work every day.
Does he ever sort of talk about how he feels about things, or does he keep it all sort of locked inside?
Yes. When things were missing from the house, and I told obviously his family, his cousin sisters and his mom, he was really upset. He went mad. He don't want me to tell his family I nicked that much stuff, but which is true really. Especially when they start borrowing money from people. So you do need to tell everyone around the circle, so not lend him money.
Yeah.
So you don't want people to come into your door asking you money back, you know, so you don't know where the money is. So
it's got a ripple effect, hasn't it? It's like
affects
the whole family
everyone,
circle.
like, yeah. He did borrow the money from his sister-in-law. I've given money everyone back at first, and I told them not to lend him money. Any problem, talk to me first. And it's big thing to deal with. It takes time. It took me 3 years to kind of bring everything into circle, how to manage everything. So we're on the right spot now. So nobody can lend him money now. My things are not going to be in his way. So there's no.
So you've kind of learned to cope with the situation in a way.
It takes time.
In a practical sense, but we're going to talk more also about the emotional side of things as well, because you obviously you need some help with that as well. That's where Mandy's coming in now to help us out. Obviously, this is something that you deal with on a day-to-day basis in your work.
Yeah.
So is this sort of a common thing that you hear?
It is, and I want to say how incredibly brave it is for you to come out in public and talk about your experience. And I can hear how hard you've worked to kind of hold on to perhaps the love you have for your husband and managing and honouring the commitments you've got to your family, and I think that's amazing. And I understand why you've done it. And I suppose the difficult part that I have is knowing that the price you pay is of being in control, being in charge, feeling isolated, not having a partner anymore, but almost having another infant as your partner. And that's where this condition stops being about the addict or the drug, and you start seeing how addiction manifests in families and just takes everyone hostage. So he gets the parasite on him, and he starts to go down. He says, I love you. So he takes you by the hand, and you go down, and then you, and then you. And then when a family member says, I'm not helping, we all go, how could you? But actually that family member has got a right to say no. What happens with addiction is people stop communicating. So you end up with a really polar relationship. So you and your husband will be isolated from the rest of the family, fighting your own little battle, and caught trying to maintain a status quo.
Mandy, we're going to go to a quick break, but I'd like you to obviously give Nikki here some advice, some guidance on what's best to do, and also our viewers that may be going through the same thing. So do join us after this break.
Thank you.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back, and we're continuing speaking about how to deal with addiction in the family. So we've been hearing Nikki's story here of how her relationship with her husband has been affected by his addiction, and also Mandy, you're going to give some things that families can do that are faced with this kind of situation, also to help Nikki here.
Okay, so the thing I'd really like to put across is that too often people focus on the drug of choice, in this case the heroin or whatever it may be that he's taking as a substitute, and people focus on the drug. And absolutely you need to get abstinent, but once you get abstinent, once he's on the Subutex or whatever it is he's taking, you're going to get a relapse back onto the heroin unless you deal with the underlying issues. We've all heard it 100 times before. You've got to deal with the underlying issues, and that's where the work is. So I find myself wanting to ask you, where do you get your support? Who do you talk to? Who do you lean on? Where do you go to deal with the feelings you have, or are you just holding them all inside?
I don't hold inside actually. I'm quite an outgoing person. I just talk to his mom, and I haven't told my parents yet. I know it's a long time now. I spoke to my brother, he knows about it. When I feel really down, I just speak to my brother, or I don't really feel down, but sometimes, everyone have those moments when you really want to take it out. And my favourite part is I don't like cry in front of anyone. What I do when I'm upset, I sit inside, I cry a lot myself. Then it makes me feel better. Then I'm just back to normal again.
And this is where, this is what I would like to challenge, not necessarily in you. I'm not going to tackle you here on television. But I really feel like I want to let you know, and I want to let the viewers know, that the answers lie actually in recognising that the addiction will take hostages, so that you'll soak up the fact that he's not doing okay, and then when you're at saturation point, you dump on family members, so that you purge the difficult emotion, come back and go back to square one, and it goes round and round and round. And we have to break this cycle, which means that I would ask someone like you, if I was working with you, we'd be looking at what is it in you that was drawn to someone, even though you were happy to start with, that was drawn to someone who might be high maintenance, who might be prone to an addictive process. We'd be looking at how you can set yourself free from the addiction within the family, whether your husband gets well or not. What we know is that for as long as you pick up his pieces, he will not be motivated to take action. And you said it yourself. When you first found out what was going on, he was so frightened of losing you that you were able to walk him down to the drug and alcohol team and start taking action. Several years on, he knows you're not going to go.
No, he knows,
Yeah, he knows you're not going to go.
He knows that, and I got that. I'm a bit weak there. I got a bit of weak point.
No. I'm not going to let you call yourself weak. I'm not. What happens is that the addiction comes along. You love someone. The addiction comes along, and it takes it away from you.
Yeah.
Right. So what do? You know this person's still here, but you're dealing with the addiction. So you have to find a way to get the person to put this down.
Yeah.
So you have to stop interacting with the addiction and learn how to talk to the person behind the addiction, and that means you need to focus on you. Because for as long as you're trying to manage someone else's addiction, you're out of your own shoes. You're constantly watching, policing, hiding things. Your mind's not on you. And for a while, you'll manage. And whilst your kids are small, you'll manage. And then the demands will come.
And then she breaks down.
And then the kids get angry. Why do you let dad treat you like this? And then you'll be placating them and making apologies for him. And the respect goes in the family. And it takes a lot of courage for someone to do this, but I would encourage you to go to, I know nobody likes this, but they're great when you get there, support networks, support groups for people in the same position. There are hundreds of them across London. They are free. You will find them on the website. You'll find where there are anonymous support networks for people who suffer from addiction, alcohol, drugs, any of those problems, and for their family members. And you can go in there and you can tap into, because I couldn't possibly tell you in 10 minutes. You know I can talk for hours.
Yes, I've been to one of her brilliant seminars, by the way.
Okay, so and there's a lot of information, and I don't want to overload it. I want to tell you where to find it. And you go to these websites, you go to the AA website or the Al-Anon websites, and you go and find where you can get support for being the family member of someone who suffers from addiction, because there are literally steps that you can take where you don't have to put a gun to his head and say, you stop using or I'm leaving. Because there's no point in putting in a boundary or a threat that you can't follow through, because you'll fall foul of it and the addiction wins. You've got to learn how not to enable his addiction whilst being in relationship with him. Really difficult thing to do. It's possible. Get the right team on board.
Are you able to give us one of the points, and then our viewers can follow up?
Okay, one of the things that people don't want to do because they don't want to upset the addict is that they start not getting angry, not getting sad, not expressing how they feel directly to the addict, because they think that they are controlling how the addict is, whether they're going to use or whether they're not. So if I upset you and you're an addict, you'll go and use, that's my fault. So I have to tiptoe around you. Believe it or not, that makes you really frustrated, because you get, and this gets worse and worse. So I'd like to help you to be able to say to him, irrespective of what he does, I am really angry that you have just used. And then you go make a cup of tea, but you start to have some integrity, some self-representation with dignity, with respect, that you maintain that in the face of his deceit and his denial and his self-centered using. because that's the illness. He can't help what he's doing. Your recovery is about recovering you, whilst you're powerless over his behaviour. That's what you do.
Now, like you said, there are several steps, because I have been to one of your seminars, which were really fantastic, and a lot of it really opened my mind to how to, not that I haven't been in that situation like in my own household, but I have other family members that are going through it now. But it's like, it's things that you don't think about, that ways of dealing with things that maybe something really like, oh my God, I can actually do that and it will work. And it actually does, because you had people there that were also talking about it as well. But what I'd like to leave our viewers with, Mandy, is it really possible for someone to lead a normal life after addiction? Or
Yes.
because I believe so too, but I want someone else to say it too. So
I
tell us.
see it.
Yeah.
I mean, at Charter, where I work, we have a 62% recovery rate in terms of abstinence and an agency, and that's twice the national average. And I just know that I am not the only treatment facility out there who's generating these kind of returns. I also know some people get well simply because they have enough collateral to do it and enough of a support network. What I suggest over and over again is lean on people who are not family and friends. Lean on people who can give you objective support rather than take sides, because you'll edit what you're going to say, because eventually you'll want your brother to like your husband. So you're going to just not quite tell the truth, so you don't pit him against him, because you want to stay with him. So it's very difficult, really, to be honest, and really connect with your own energy and all those resources you have.
It's true, because you're always holding back. You'll always be holding something back. You're never truly going to express yourself to other people.
You don't want to like a relationship totally break as well. So you still always it's always nothing 100% really, you don't know how to deal with it. So.
But I believe, I'm looking at your courage coming on here, and I reckon if you tapped into the right support, I reckon you can do this.
Yeah.
It's really not that unusual. All you got to do is take that first step, and you'd be amazed actually how you just start moving in a particular direction and everything changes. Everything can change. If you change, everything can change.
I know.
What do you think of that, Nikki? Do you feel hopeful?
Not too bad actually, yes. Yes, I will contact those kind of companies. And
I'll give you the numbers afterwards.
Yeah, I will.
And actually, if you can give them to me as well, we can put that up on our website for our viewers as well. If they have, they are going for anything like this and they need some help. But definitely there's hope. I always believe that anyone can change their life around, no matter what they've been through. I've seen, I've spoken to lots of people on this show. My own mother-in-law, for example, she wasn't addicted to drugs, but she was an alcoholic. In fact, the whole family was. And she got help. She got help for that addiction. She's been clean now it's been about 17 years. She hasn't touched the stuff again.
That's really good.
So, I mean, she was suicidal. It was affecting. She almost she was going to kill her 2 sons and then end her own life, because she was going through lots and lots of problems. But she got help. She's very happy today. In fact, she works on a helpline, helping other people.
Really?
So you can see, things can change, things can transform, and definitely you just have to keep that hope and that courage that you have inside of you, because we can see it. We can all see it, that you have that inside of you. You have that strength.
Great.
So,
and then come back and tell us how it goes.
Hope they're going to bring him here once it's sorted,
Definitely. That's a deal.
That's a deal.
Yeah? Definitely. I want to see him here. It's a challenge. So definitely take that first step that Mandy's suggesting as well. Keep in touch with us, because we'd like to, to follow up how everything's going, and and we'll get that. Yeah, definitely bring you back and to talk about it. So Mandy, in terms of maybe like when kids are involved, children are involved, how would you advise maybe what to do with the children? Should they also go to these support groups, do you think, or should that be from the parent that's okay? What do you think?
As a general rule of thumb, if the child is under probably 11, depending on the development of the child, in other words, if they're very adult or if they're quite immature, but if a child is manifesting with sort of behavioural difficulties or something like that, and you've got a parent who's addicted or suffering with addiction, I would look at really focusing on the parents first and not including the child.
But will the parents get advice on how to...
The parents will get advice on how to parent the child, how to parent to prevent the addiction manifesting in the child, and how to parent in a way that's proactive so that the child is supported. I'm always concerned about pathologising the child and saying that this child is a problem unless you sort out what's happening in the parent relationship. However, if the child is severe, then you must get the support of a child and adolescent psychotherapist. But if you're going to any of these meetings or any of these support groups, some of them welcome children, some of them don't. but generally you will find somewhere, if you've got no one to look after your kids, these support groups are really open to supporting whole families cope with. In fact, you've had somebody on here before. You've had Elizabeth Burton Phillips who came on here. Drug Family. I mean, there's another one. There's some great charities and support networks out there that will support the whole family, including the kids.
Thank you so much, Nikki, for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy, for your brilliant advice as usual. Thank you so much.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
And after the break, we're going to be joined by Chris Brown with the Self-Development Clinic, so do stay tuned.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show, and I've got here with me Chris Brown now with the Self-Development Clinic. But Chris, before we get into your stuff, I'm actually very hopeful for Nikki and her husband, aren't you?
I'm very hopeful. I thought it was very brave of her to actually come on and do that. And obviously, if her husband's watching, listen, you've got a great wife there. She's fighting for you, so you know.
Definitely, it's got something good there.
Yeah, I'd like to see the follow-up.
Watch this space, as we say, right?
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant.
Okay.
You know, it's funny because we're talking about addictions and all that, but even in people's lives, there's other sort of addictions that go on, habits like that, that causes a continuous downward cycle in life. And sometimes you've got to realise how we've actually got to be able to break through and break out, which is what I'm going to talk about today, just in general life, right?
Break through and break out.
Break through and break out, right?
Let's go for it.
What I'm going to use is, I'm going to use a coaching model, which we normally use in coaching.
Get a pen and paper, everyone, or your
Please
iPads
do.
out. Okay.
Please do, pen and paper. You just said iPads, didn't you?
Yeah,
So,
iPads,
because that's what I used to say pen and paper, and everybody goes, pads and what, forget that, right?
Shall I do mine as well?
Okay, get the pen and pen out. Anyway, it's a model I've went through before, but this is particularly, now, here we go. It's called TGROW. And it's an acronym, and the first letter on there, which you want to write down or type in or whatever you do in it, is T. Letter T. Now, that stands for the word topic. Now, when we think about this, the whole idea is sometimes in our life we've got things going wrong, and we've got to find out what the actual theme, the topic is. So it might be in your finances, it might be your health, it might be your love life, it might be your marriage, your finances, whatever. You've got to find out, well, what is this main issue in my life which is actually stopping me that I actually want to tackle? Because sometimes we know there's something blocking us, or in our subconscious we know something blocking us, but we carry on with this frown on our face and getting on with life. Is it the kids? Is it the direction they're going? Whatever it is. So I want you now, we're actually going to tackle it now. I want you to actually write down a topic, a main area that you'd like to tackle. Okay? Right, now, some people say issue. Well, that's quite great actually, if you've got none at all.
I must have.
Yeah.
I just can't think of
just
one right now.
Proper random.
Maybe it's because I'm hungry.
So you at home, I want you to do exactly that. I want you to write down an area that you think is really bothering your life now, that you're stuck with and you want to break out of. Okay, so that's T, topic. Now, the second letter is G, which is goal, which represents goal, right? Your goals. Now, that area which you've taken as the topic that you're working on, I want you to actually visualize what the outcome you'd like it to be. What is your overall goal? How would you like to finish this up and see it? And you've got to actually see it in your mind. It might seem impossible. Straight away when you think about it, you think, yeah, but you don't know about this and that. Forget about this and that. Work outside of the limits in your head. Sometimes we've got self-limiting barriers that hold us in and think, oh, well, but you can't because this, I won't bother writing it down. Write it down, all right? So work on that, right? Find out what the end goal is, how you'd like it to be, whether it be fancy or whatever, how great it would be, what you'd like to see.
Are you taking notes at home? Because I'm taking notes here.
I hope they are.
I hope you are too.
Yeah, give them homework, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we do a check on it. Right. Okay, so the next letter after that, third letter is R. And that R, I roll the R, right? That R is for reality. Now, when I say reality, it's the reality of the situation now. You've got to actually know what you're dealing with first before you start saying, well, I'm going to get up and do this, that, and the other at the end of the day. So when you know what you're dealing with, the reality is, well, let's say it's a marriage. The reality situation now, this marriage is not sparking. There's got to be a reason behind it. Or the reality of it is my kids have gone astray. The reality is my career is not moving on. The reality is my finances, somehow I just don't seem to budget
That's
it
like
right.
facing the situation.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
face
people,
the
they
situation.
bury things they hide things under the carpet,
That's it.
sweep things on the carpet rather. They just bury their head in the sand and they don't want to face what's actually really going on. But you have to admit what's happening.
The reality of it, right? They could be staking the letters that come through the door. Shove them. Don't open the letters. Don't open the letters. Do not do that, right? Reality. Open them, right? Face it. Okay, so here we go. Number 4, which is letter O. Obstacles. The obstacles. Now, the obstacle is what is actually preventing you from tackling this. What is your obstacles?
What do you think is preventing you from tackling
this? Exactly. And that goes back to self-limiting as well in the mind. Obstacles. What is actually preventing you from going ahead and moving on with this? What is the challenges ahead of you? What are the obstacles that you see? Yes, as you said, in your mind, because you can overcome these. You just got to chip away at them bit by bit. Maybe you might have to ask somebody for help. Maybe sometimes our pride stays in the way and we think, I can't do this. And there could be somebody else who's quite versed in that field or experienced already, which you actually can ask for help. Or just like earlier on, where Mandy was giving advice to Nikki about organisations, you can ask for help. They're out there, you know. Find somebody you trust as well. Okay, now we'll go on to number 5 here, which is a W. Now the W is when. When are you going to actually tackle this? When?
Now.
That's it, yes. Right, and you know I could put another one in there, is when, where, and when. Right, how do you see the when at the end of the day? So the other thing is, when you got the when, what I want you to do is to put a date on it as well. Yeah, if you can foresee this can be taken care of in about a month or a month and a half. Don't make it too long though. Don't make it, well, I can see it's about 6 months down the line taken care of, because you're not going to go back to it. You're going to let it sit there. So put a target at the end of the month. If you haven't actually completed by the end of the month, don't worry, just put 2 weeks more on it. Or a week more on it, but you've got to put a little pressure on yourself to make sure you complete this. Now, whatever you've written down at the top, I don't want you to just put this away and say, right, that's it, got this tonight and that's that. I actually want you to go away and start at it from tonight, right? It'll be great if they can actually phone in and say, what have they actually tackled? What has actually broken through? What difference has it actually made in their life? Because this model is used by many coaches, not just myself. And when you think about it, you're coaching people every day, and there's been many breakthroughs just from this pattern alone. I myself, when I've got a certain situation, I reflect back at that and think, all right, T-Grow. What's the area? What do I need to do? What's the goal? How's the outcome? What's the obstacle? You know,
and obviously you need to possibly choose, well, I think you should choose the one that's bothering you the most, but that might not necessarily be the main issue, because there's some issues, for example, there's some problems that are a spin-off to other things that are going on. So you need to kind of think first, what's the most important one to deal with right now?
Right. Do you know,
on what it is.
You're completely right with that, Chrissy, and it's funny because it always comes up main issue. People always say, oh, it's my finances, my finances. Do you know, really and truly, that whole thing, it's my finances, sometimes has nothing to do with finances.
Something else, isn't it?
There's something else behind it, with you not being proactive in actually dealing with certain issues, or not putting yourself out there for work in a certain way. Or, you know, sometimes there's other issues before. Just as you said, the main one at the top that you've got to knock down, and all the rest start to crumble and fall down. So don't look at it saying, well, it's just the finance. It's not. There is something else behind that which needs to be dealt with. If you're real with yourself, you'll actually write that one down. You don't have to show anybody. Write that one down. Tackle it.
And for those people that maybe you're finding it hard to really identify what the real issue is or where it's all coming from, and you need to talk to someone as well. Both I and Chris are available to speak to you if you need someone to talk to. You can always email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. Just let us know which one you'd like to speak to, and we'll definitely help you out.
Yeah, I'll be glad to.
Because sometimes people, it's hard when they're faced with so many things. It's like, oh my God, where do I start? I think this one's important, but this one's just as important. What do I do? And they panic. And I know, because I've been in that situation in the past as well. So definitely we're here to help you. So please do contact us. But thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you very much, Chrissy. T-Grow, that's the one.
We show T-Grow. Keep T growing. All right, so That's it for today's program. But on Friday, we're going to be speaking. Well, we're going to be speaking to people that face near-death experiences, such as accidents and other things, and they're going to be telling us about that and how it changed their outlook on life completely. So do tune in to watch that show. It's going to be a great one. And for now, have a wonderful evening, and thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, it's gone out. Oh, come on. This is ridiculous. This is the 11th match now we're lighting.
Ah, I think you did it.
I know they do something like this, don't they?
Oh my God, seriously. No, we need to get the water because it's actually...